Hey guys, greetings from San Diego. Welcome back to markdillon.com. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, do me a big favor and click subscribe. As always, that's very much appreciated. Thanks to you, I'm almost at 30,000 subscribers, and I'd like to get that sooner than later, so help me out. Now, tonight's question is one that kind of just makes you shake your head and wonder how some people can come to the conclusions they come to. Justin has a question about his friend who is both gay and a Trump supporter. He says, Dear Mark, thanks for your channel. I especially liked your last two posts about Black Lives Matter and your hookup story about the hot guy you met at a bar. You should do more personal stories like that. Well, Justin, I would love to do more personal stories like that, but you would be shocked at how relatively boring my life is. Uh, Actually, I have my fun here and there, but honestly, I think there is more than enough of that on every social media platform you can think of. People talking about all the fun, wild things they do. Uh, One, I don't do enough of that to, to, to discuss it that frequently. And two, I would rather answer questions like this. So, after a few more lines of gratuitous flattery, which is always a surefire way to get on my good side, Justin says, I'm curious about what you think about gays who support Trump, and could you be friendly with one? I won't go into a long backstory, but I have a friend who says he is voting for Trump. I disagree totally, but I'm giving him a pass because he was originally a Bernie supporter, and he thinks Hillary is the absolute worst. Uh, Thanks for reading, and I hope my question ends up on your channel. All right, Justin. Well, first of all, I have no friends who are Trump supporters. Part of that could be because I have such a tiny social circle. Now, could I be friendly with one? Probably not. But I think to a large extent it would depend on whether or not they supported most of his platform. And I know you're thinking that, well, that's a contradiction. If they're voting for him, obviously they support his platform. In this case, I don't think that that's true. I think he's going to get a decent number of votes from people who don't necessarily support him, but they're protest votes, protests against the establishment, protests against Hillary herself, which I think to some degree is unfair because for 20 years, 20 plus years, Hillary has had her character assailed. She has been maligned. She has been vilified like no other politician, certainly of our time. Now, not to say she's not without flaws, and not to say she's not without flaws that deserve a significant amount of criticism. But every conservative commentator you can imagine, on every platform they have, for 20 plus years, has tried to make her into the boogeyman. And it's not just conservatives well, conservatives hate her, but it's not just conservatives who have disdain for her, but many progressives and many very liberal Democrats. And I'm progressive, I'm liberal, but they absolutely hate her as well. And they think it's because she hasn't been an effective enough advocate for any number of issues. They think, for example, they think that she should have been more supportive of gay marriage. And hey, look, I agree with that. I would have loved to have seen her be a more of an advocate for gay marriage before it was politically expedient. But you can't deny the fact that she was an advocate for the LGBT community. I think she made mistakes when it came to lines like saying, the whole super predator line. But you can't argue the fact that she has been a civil rights advocate. She has been a tremendous advocate for women's rights. I mean, those are constituencies that don't even cross Donald Trump's radar. So, to all my fellow liberal Democrats and progressives, you cannot, in good conscience, say Donald Trump is better than Hillary. And I'm not going to even attempt to justify her credentials to conservatives because, they're just, I think there's very little hope of reaching any of them. Um, you're talking about two people who are just polar opposites in how they view public service. Hillary in her 20s was, you know, help, helping in the fight against school segregation in the South. Donald Trump in his 20s, um, was being sued along with his father for uh, housing discrimination against minorities. And yes, was Hillary's super predator line unfortunate? Of course. But compare that to Donald Trump taking out a full page ad in the Central Park 5 case, advocating for the death penalty against, five kids who turned out to be innocent for God's sakes. And even after they were proven innocent, he wouldn't he wouldn't admit a mistake. He he continued to malign them and continued to, say, oh, well, they didn't exactly have the best, record and yada, yada, yada. You had this idiot take out a full page ad against five kids advocating that they be put to death. Then they're exonerated and he still doesn't apologize. And to even attempt to compare Trump's record on civil rights to Hillary's is outrageous. The same for the LGBT community. The same for women. You for all her flaws, whatever mistakes she has made, you cannot be intellectually honest with yourself and say Donald Trump is better. I don't care how pissed off you are at Hillary, that she wasn't progressive enough. She didn't do this. She didn't do that. She is a better candidate than Donald Trump. So unless you actually support his platform, in which case, I have no respect for you. Don't vote for him. Don't vote for him out of protest against Hillary. Don't vote for him out of protest against the establishment. I would like to see you vote for Hillary just to keep him out of the White House. But if you're not going to vote for her, either leave that portion of the ballot blank or vote for Jill Stein. Do not vote for Donald Trump. So, Justin, I think the answer to your question is I couldn't be friends with a Trump supporter, even if they were voting for him in protest. I think that would be kind of like a friend coming up to me and punching me in the face and saying, you have to forgive me because punching you in the face is cathartic for me. So a Trump administration would be a punch in the face to minorities of all kinds. A Trump administration would be a punch in the face to gays, to African Americans, to Latinos, to Muslims, to pick any group you can that's not, to women. Pick any group you want that's not white, male, and Christian. The Trump administration will be a punch in the face to them. And it's not just the crazy, obnoxious things he says, but when you look at the people he's surrounding himself with, from his running mate Mike Pence, who has an atrocious record when it comes to the LGBT community, to Bannon from Breitbart, to Roger Ailes from Fox News. Do you really want a president who is being influenced by these people? Think about not just the Supreme Court, but the other federal judgeships that he'll appoint judges to. There's too much at stake for any gay person to vote for Donald Trump, no matter how pissed off you are at Hillary. And it's shocking to me that there are people supporting this clown. I cannot believe it. I mean, his whole thing is basically, well, the establishment has not solved any number of difficult, almost intractable problems. So vote for me. I'm going to fix it. And I always, when I'm discussing that with people who bring up that point, well, establishment Republicans haven't solved this, establishment Democrats haven't solved this, maybe we need to change. So I say, okay, well, let's say you had a very difficult to treat cancer, and you're at Sloan Kettering or you're at the Mayo Clinic, and all the experts, the people who have dedicated their lives to treating cancer, are having difficulty treating your cancer. Do you then go to the village idiot who says, uh, don't listen to those experts? What they're doing isn't working. I have some secret pill. I'm not going to tell you what's in it, but take my secret pill and you'll be better. Nobody in their right mind would do that. And that's Trump is the village idiot. He is the witch doctor who's saying, don't listen to the experts. Don't listen to the people who have competency in these areas. Listen to me and my secret plans that I'm not going to tell you. You know, it's just unfathomable to me that reasonable people will support him. And then on top of that, people who will support him would go bananas over Gary Johnson, not knowing what Aleppo is. Now, by any standard, if you're a presidential candidate in this election, you should know about Aleppo. You should be able to give an hour-long speech about Aleppo. But, I mean, can we hold Gary Johnson to that standard if we're not going to hold Donald Trump to that standard? Can you imagine if Donald Trump had been asked about Aleppo? And just think about it. Let's say the interviewer says, Mr. Trump, what are your plans for Aleppo? I can hear Donald Trump now. Aleppo. Yes, I hear they're moving their dog food factory to Mexico, and I guarantee you, this is a tragedy. I guarantee you, if they move to Mexico, when I'm elected, I will slap a 700% tariff on Aleppo dog food. And then the moderator will say, no, Mr. Trump, we said Aleppo, not Aleppo. Aleppo, that's what I said. You just heard me. I said it was a tragedy. And it is a disgrace what's happening in Aleppo. And Aleppo, it is a tremendous, tremendous tragedy what's going on there. And it is, I will fix it. I have a secret plan for Aleppo. That would be a Trump answer. And you have people voting for this idiot. People who really think he has any chance at successful governance. It's outrageous. And, you know, we have people throwing a fit that Hillary said 50% of his supporters were deplorables. And unfortunately, she's now trying to walk that comment back. I have the stats right here. 65% of Trump supporters, not all Republicans, but 65% of Trump supporters think that President Obama is lying about his religion and that he's a Muslim, which there would be nothing wrong with that if he was a Muslim. 59% think President Obama was not born here. 40% say that African Americans are lazy. 50% think that black people are more violent than white people. A significant portion believe that we should ban gays from the U.S. And 20% of Trump supporters disagree with Abraham Lincoln signing the Emancipation Proclamation. So, yes, those people are deplorable. And Hillary should say that half of them are deplorable. If anything, she might be being generous. So, you know, I've ranted on probably too long, but I think you have a duty to try to dissuade your friend from voting for Donald Trump. I'm not telling you end your friendship. I have no idea how long you guys have been friends or how close you guys are. But I would encourage him to really defend his vote for Donald Trump. And I think you should try to either talk him into voting for Jill Stein or at least not casting a vote for Donald Trump. So there you go. Guys, thanks for tuning in to markdillon.com. And if you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe. Thanks.